goes with it.
Yeah.
It was long. There was a lot of
On that
ministry.
trip, the camper was warmer.
So I did that.
I'm telling you, with that fireplace going now, that cabin is the place to be.
I
Do
bet.
you go every weekend?
Oh, I've been going during the week, weekends, whenever I can get away.
That's nice.
Sweet.
Do we know if Brenda's coming or not?
She said she was.
Okay. We should wait a minute or two.
Yeah, that Zoom thing, that was,
Yeah, my first time, I couldn't get the mic to work, you know, so they were telling me like, Richard, just there's a button there. And I kept looking, you know, I was looking, but there was no button.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I just told them, you know, this is going to be it. Yeah, so I was just listening. Yeah. Can be tough.
Actually, Craig, today I went out there and got my cedar post and started stripping the bark off of them
Oh, yeah,
to make my bunk bed.
very nice.
Are you going to make bunk bed? Oh, wow.
I'm gonna try it. Maybe end up being firewood, but I'm gonna give it a try.
I guess we call this meeting to order at 6:01. We need approval of prior minutes. Does anyone make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the prior minutes.
I second the motion.
Third motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
You
now
want
we
me to go
have,
one more time.
Huh?
Who first? Who,
I made the motion.
okay.
I
Laura
second.
seconded. Richard thirded.
Gotcha.
Sounds like Miss Brenda's walking in.
Yes, sir.
She's probably getting off work coming straight here.
Oh, is this Mike?
Yeah, it's her.
Yeah.
there she comes.
I haven't seen him in a while.
How are you, Richard?
Oh, good. How you doing, Mike?
Great.
Oh, man. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead. Is that fine?
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
I guess we continue discussion on the capital improvement plan.
Do we need to read that header thing again?
That,
Yes.
that,
Give me
You want to
a
read that disclaimer?
this,
Some members of the planning and zoning may participate via telephone or video conference. A quorum may or may not be physically present in the city council chambers. Citizens wishing to make comments should email dstrickland@evermantx.net. Citizens' comments received prior to the meeting adjourned will be read to the city council.
So really, we're just going to keep pressing on. Last week, we went over a lot of street projects. If you recall, mixed in with some of the street projects were some equipment purchases. You'll just kind of swipe those to the side. Don't worry about reviewing those. We're going to review them again. We had 2 submissions for similar projects, and Mike's going to cover most of those tonight, and I think that's where he's going to start. So, Mike, I'll just kind of turn it over to you, and we can start going down the list of your projects here.
Well, let me start off by apologizing. I had full intentions of being there today, but we got 6 inches of snow yesterday, and it was a lot of ice on the roads this morning, so I did not try to travel. I know at the last meeting, Jeff kind of discussed a little bit about some of the street machinery that we were thinking about trying to purchase, and the importance of the city trying to overlay as many streets as we could possibly do. And so anyway, I've got 4 different projects in front of you, or 4 different items in front of you that are related to that very subject. The first of which is, I know a little bit of discussion occurred last time about a skid steer. The skid steer can be used not only for street projects, but it can be used for a variety of functions around the city, like drainage ditches, or clearing debris, or grading, digging, just a bunch of different things that the city can really utilize it for. So that is one of the items that we would need if we were going to try and conduct overlay programs throughout the city. The second item would be the paver itself. And we discussed the paver with several different companies, and actually the one we liked is the one that's in front of you. I think we have a picture of it somewhere. But this is basically the overlay machine. The dump trucks that y'all talked about last time hook up to this machine, and it puts the asphalt in it, and then that machine overlays the street. It takes several people to operate, and CAT indicated that they would train every one of our people and actually pave some streets with us to make sure that our people were very familiar with the operation of the machine. But I've been involved in programs where we've had machinery like this before, and it is very advantageous for a city like Everman to not only have, but to operate throughout the city, because we're spending an enormous amount of money trying to maintain our streets, if we can ever maintain them at all. And I think y'all know, and I think y'all will agree that streets are a major issue in the city of Everman. And I don't want you to think that that's unique, because just about every municipality in the country has the same issue. Street maintenance is very expensive. It's an ongoing project. And the best that we can do is to try to come up with programs and ways to conduct this type of work and maintenance and be as cost effective as we possibly can be. The third item, and actually both of these are similar, but I'll try to explain the difference. The third item is a roller, and that complements the paver. As they're actually putting the asphalt down, the roller will work out any kind of ridges or bumps or any kind of lines or anything like that. It'll roll all of those out as the paver is moving down the street. It's a smaller piece of machinery than what you would think a roller would be. But then you also have the fourth item, which is the double drum roller. And the double drum roller is the heavier piece of equipment that is used to smooth the streets out once everything is laid in place, all the ridges and stuff are worked out, and it completely smooths the street out to where you have a nice smooth roadway to for us to operate our vehicles on. So like I said before, we priced this out at a few different companies. CAT worked with us rather well. And they came up with a couple of different scenarios for the city to either purchase the property or to finance it for ownership. And certainly that's up to the city and Craig once they get to that point. If y'all think this is important enough to prioritize, and the city council thinks it's important enough to prioritize. But in our negotiations, we were able to get about a little over $200,000 in savings by buying this equipment. It's all brand new, none of it's used. We were kind of hinky about buying used equipment, such as this, because a lot of things can go wrong with used equipment sometimes. But basically, this type of machinery, if y'all are interested and in favor of getting into a program like this type of machinery could essentially be used on just about every street in the city of Everman. The only time we would not use it, and we would continue to contract with the county, is for major street renovations. But for typical overlays, if we dig up a street to replace a water line or something like that, we can overlay it properly instead of the way that we've been doing it for the last several years. So
if I can add to that, Mike, one of the things that we implemented this year that we did not have before was a street maintenance schedule. And that's one of the reasons why our streets have become so dilapidated over the time, is that there was never a schedule to go out there and maintain it, do basic crack fill, simple overlays, those kinds of things. So that's what's caused a lot of our streets to be in such disrepair. So we kind of have come in and then just laid our streets, and we let it sit there right up until the point where it's just not drivable anymore. And now we've got to come in and do a complete rebuild of that street. Our streets should last us 30 years between each rebuild. 30 years. They're only lasting us maybe 10 to 15 because we're not maintaining them properly. So we would come in, and after a street rebuild, about year mark 7, you come in, you do a crack fill, you do an overlay. Year mark 10, you do another crack fill. Year mark 15, you come in and do some more overlay. So our streets, a lot of the maintenance and stuff can be done internally and at a cheaper rate rather than having to rebuild the streets every 10 to 15 years. We could double the life of our streets if we maintain them properly.
Well, what is it? We're talking about redoing them. But we've all, like last week, we talked about complete refurbish, have someone else do it. Are you still talking about we doing a lot of the work ourselves?
We would do the work on the overlays and the crack fills. This is going to do the simple overlay work to maintain. So this is
Right.
maintenance equipment.
Right.
We're not going to be able to do a complete street rebuild, and that's not because of the equipment. That's mainly because of manpower.
Well,
don't
we
have
have
the staff.
enough to do both. I mean, we need it for both. Or just, I mean, it sounds like we want to redo all the streets.
Well, we do.
Don't have to do all. I mean, completely redo.
Oh, right. So we've had, within the last 7 years, we've had several streets that have been redone.
Right.
Enon is one of those. Wichita is one of them.
Langley,
I'm sorry, where?
Langley.
Langley. We've got streets that if we purchase this equipment tomorrow, we could start slating on the schedule to start doing the appropriate maintenance that our city personnel could do to perform those crack fills and overlay jobs that need to be done to allow these streets to last a lot longer. Royce C. Brooks was done maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't too long ago that Royce C. Brooks was a complete rebuild. I don't know if you've driven up not Royce C. Brooks, Wichita. I don't know if you've driven up Wichita here recently, but there are a number of cracks and you're starting to see the wear and tear on that road. If we don't do something within the next couple of years to maintain that, do an overlay and a crack fill, we're going to have to replace that road probably within the next 5 to 6 years. And that's going to be a $300,000, $400,000 rebuild just from just from Enon Street to Bell.
So then how this works is that we get a large company to do the major rebuild, and then we can do the maintenance ourselves for the next 30 years. Is that
Well, you
right?
weren't here last week, so I'll bring it. County actually does the rebuilds for us.
Okay,
They don't charge us. That's part of a cooperative agreement between us and Tarrant County.
okay.
They do all the physical labor for us. The only thing we have to put forth is the cost for material. The problem that we run into with that, and the reason why we can't get them to do these smaller street repairs, is because they don't just do that for us. They do that for several municipalities around us and all the county roads. So getting into their schedule sometimes takes 8 to 12 months just to get on the schedule. So it's a difficult process. It's a long-term process.
So
to
we
do a
have
street
some right
rebuild.
now that we could be redoing
Yes,
ourselves. We do
absolutely.
have some, if we had to, okay, that's main
We have
thing.
a bunch that we could be doing right now. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, that asphalt layer, is it
Yes.
adjustable in width?
Yes,
So we could lay our own jogging track.
we could. And we could also use it for parking lots and things of that nature, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But yeah, we could use it for a variety of functions.
So basically, we need all the equipment.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it all. I mean,
You have to
it's-
have all the,
Yeah, each of them is a piece of the process. Yeah.
Yeah, including the dump truck that y'all discussed last week. Because as you found out, we don't have a dump truck.
What's wrong with that dump truck?
Next.
We got to decide a ranking on it.
we got to
So do you guys want,
Oh, we
you
gotta
guys
do
want to
this.
decide a classification for these?
So are we doing skid steer, drum roller, the roller, and the asphalt layer, right?
Yes.
Like, how would we
I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I'd put it as urgent.
in the long run, I could see it saving us.
Yep.
But-
Well, you just
and it's
look at the
something
price.
we-
I was just I was listening to everybody and still doing the deal. But
Yeah, I
that's
saw
why I
the
was
price
asking if
at
it was
450.
adjustable, because just the walking trail over here at Pittman Isn't that right?
Right.
Pittman Park. Just that walking trail is $150,000 to do.
And
If
that's
we do it-
contracted out.
Yeah, if we do it ourselves, you're just buying asphalt.
And we could do it using it if we had our own equipment.
The labor's on the clock anyhow, whether they're laying that or putting up barricades or digging a hole or whatever. The labor's there. All you gotta do is,
Have equipment.
What I don't understand is which are the most important ones, like if we didn't get them all, or if we didn't get all right away. This sounds like it would be pretty important to get, plus what, a roller or something.
it'd be like eating a hamburger without lettuce and tomatoes and onions on
Well, sometimes you have to do that.
it. Well,
To-
I
to
mean,
be
No,
honest,
I'm not saying don't get them. I'm
From
just trying to.
from a city management perspective, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you guys are just earmarking the urgency of these projects, these items.
Mhm.
If it comes time to purchase these and everything's approved, if we can't get it all, we're not gonna spend a dime on any of it,
Okay,
because we won't be able to complete the jobs that a piece of the equipment will be able to.
well, I think it's a good idea to get them all.
So we just
Yeah,
gotta say,
I
if
mean-
we pieced it, we would still have to contract until we got all the pieces.
I mean, if we bought an asphalt roller, we would have to somehow beg, steal, or borrow the
Asphalt
layers,
machine,
the
yeah.
dump truck, and the other equipment that goes along with it. So it's all kind of one package.
Mine is-
So what do we think? We think it's urgent,
I-
mean,
necessary?
If we can use it tomorrow, isn't it urgent probably, right?
I would think that they should. I mean, Lord knows, when I was on the city council, the biggest complaint was streets. They hadn't
That
gotten
hasn't
any
changed.
better. And I agree, some of them can't be saved, but some of them can. But Lord, if we could go around and save what we can, that's gonna cut down our bills later on.
Right.
Because the way it works is if you're sitting here and they say, okay, now we're gonna redo Ray Street. Redo Ray Street. Okay, that's fine. And let's say that Johnson was okay, it's okay for now. Well, while we're waiting on doing Ray Street, now Ray Street's nice, but we don't have the money to fix Johnson. So we don't seal it, we don't do nothing. Now it's going down. So it's like, okay, now you got this street over here and it's going down while you're doing Johnson. And it's just like that. And all we've done for years is just keep passing the neighborhood, and you can't
Right.
keep up.
I think that this equipment combined with the schedule will allow us to be more proactive.
That's what I'm
In
thinking.
regards to taking care of the streets, because we can have all the schedule we want, but if the county, the county's not gonna align to the schedule. We have to align to theirs.
Yeah.
So, but with the equipment, we could take control.
I think it's urgent, or
I
maybe
think
Well,
it's
urgent.
needed. huh?
And after the county does the road, we can come in and we can do seal coating too, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so we can do the seal coat the roads that are good now. Let's go ahead and do those. They need to be done, once every 2 years? I know used to the county, when I was a kid, they used to come in and put the tar down and gravel it like once every 2 years or once a year or something. It was,
Yeah, Jeff's got a schedule, and we followed Corpus Christi's model, and Corpus Christi is got one of the highest recommended models for street maintenance. And I think it was year 7 after a rebuild. So once the street is brand new, I think the first step in maintenance was year 7 is a crack fill. And then I think year 10 was maybe an overlay on top of that. So as it goes along further, the time between the maintenance gets shorter and shorter until it's just time to completely do another rebuild, which is year mark 30.
well,
We got
the seal
to-
coat with the tar and gravel, how often do you do that?
I'm gonna have to get Jeff's schedule, to be honest with you.
yeah, I really don't know the answer to that either. I know, we've been lax in that area. I know that.
Yeah,
And you probably know that Craig's idea of running the city business right now is to be as proactive as possible. And that's, the capital improvement plans, all the things that you're seeing in front of you now, that's an attempt to be just that. A lot of things have gone under the radar the last several years where we put Band-Aids on things. And, Craig's initiative is to, do away with all that, be proactive, take charge of our city, and to, prioritize everything that needs to be done so that we can bring it up to speed and
Get
give
ahead
you
of
a city that
get
you want
ahead
to
of
be proud of. So.
Are we gonna have men able to know how to do this stuff?
They're gonna train.
Yes, part of this program is that they would come in and train all of our people how to use the equipment, how to lay the streets. They'll do some streets with our guys. And then if we get new employees, they'll come back in and do the retraining, and it won't cost us any extra money.
Looking back at last week where we did Steeple Ridge, it says the maintenance is 7, 15, 22, and 30 years.
Where'd you find that?
On the one from last week.
Oh, great. Wow, Jeff put that in there. That's all, good.
Sure.
And that was the rebuild of Steeple Ridge, I'm sorry, Steeple Ridge.
Okay.
Okay.
I was looking it up on Corpus Christi's website because we haven't put it on ours just yet until we're able to get the program launched. I didn't want to start saying what we're going to do if we don't have the equipment to do it.
Actually, if you got this set up and you hired new employees in with just a road crew, you're not going to see it right off the bat because you're throwing a lot of money out there. But 10 years from now, you're going to be saving this city a boatload of money. I mean, right now we're spending, God, millions of dollars on rebuilding streets. Well, you can put that behind you because now they're going to be done.
I hate to say it, but there's 2 places on our brand new Everman Parkway that need to looked at along the edge.
They're not done there. They still got a couple more layers to put on there.
I hate to say that. But I already noticed that.
Those streets are.
Those
Fort
trucks.
Worth, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a Fort Worth street, but county's actually doing the work for us.
So I have a question. When they start all the construction and building up, will they be using the Everman streets? Do you know, like for shortcuts? Will they be just
It
going
depends on
around?
where the construction is located. We have a moratorium in place for truck traffic coming to Everman in different areas. We do have some development that's going to be occurring in Everman, and that will incur some truck traffic. However, the county that built the roads that are mainly going to be used, Wichita and Roy C. Brooks for that development, have assured us that those roads are capable of handling truck traffic.
Okay.
The developments out here to the west, they're going to be mainly utilizing Oak Grove Road and Joel East and Enon, and that portion of Enon is actually Fort Worth. And then the developments to the south should be limited to Everman Parkway, Race, and Shelby, most of which is Fort Worth roadways.
Okay. Are we supposed to decide?
I
What
said
you
urgent.
think?
I said urgent
I did
on
too.
all of them.
Urgent.
Yeah.
Brenda. Okay.
Yeah, urgent.
Urgent? Okay.
Urgent for all them.
All right. Mike, what you got next?
Next projects are all, I'll group these in as well. And this goes back to the paving equipment. So if we actually get the paving equipment, we may have the answer to this question. But in the meantime, it won't hurt for y'all to prioritize these accordingly. Our parking lots at several different locations are absolutely horrible. The Civic Center parking lot, that'll be taken care of. But the parking lot in front of the big pavilions in the water park at Pittman Park, awful. The parking lot between the new Memorial Park and the football stadium is just a dirt lot. And the parking lot in between the rear of the police department and the rear of the public works department is a combination of dirt and really bad asphalt with potholes and everything else. So each of those 3 lots, we obviously need to repave those, and those are those 3 projects that you have before you.
Jeff, I put that walking trail in.
That's
on-
Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike. I put the walking trail in on that also. Sorry about that. Did he just cut me off?
No, I
He just left. He just left on that one.
I just fell out of my
Dang,
chair.
I made him mad. He just left us.
I fell on the floor and my dog bit me. I mean, come on.
Should the walking trail be in on that also?
We can throw that in there too. You're actually right. I've got that in here. But yeah, the walking track, I was just going to give a little more detail about the walking track. We actually either need to even move that in some areas because the walking track is, if you've ever been on it, number one, it's probably utilized more than anything
Yep,
we have in both the parks.
and that's all ages. I see all ages going around that track.
Yeah, all the time. And what concerns us is a good portion of it is right up against Race Street. I mean, it's right on the curb.
Yeah,
And we're fearful that at some point in time, somebody's going to stagger off that track and into the road or something. And so we'd like to relocate some of it and move it around, but certainly keep it because it's very heavily utilized and very popular in the city, and we certainly don't want to get rid of it. But yeah, that's another paving project that we would like to do.
well, would it be safe to put that down as necessary? County,
Whatever.
I mean, we can't, I don't see us being able to afford the asphalt equipment and that all at the same time. But if we get the asphalt equipment, then we can bump this up to urgent. We got it, let's use it.
That's what I was gonna ask. If we had the
Would that make sense, Craig?
Yes.
Then I'm gonna say necessary. My vote's in.
Okay, now this is for the parking lot.
This is the two parking lot. The parking lot, I'm telling you what, the ones that's right here in front of these pavilions,
Right here,
It's-
all this is what
it's-
you're talking about, all that.
yeah,
over
it's
there.
nearly like four-wheel, you need four-wheel drive there. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
terrible.
it's got holes big enough for a car to fall into.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
we've lost
And-
kids in there.
We look for there to be a lot of traffic once the Memorial Park is fully established. I think that's probably going to be pretty popular.
Yeah,
The parking lot in between the police department and the Public Works building is a real concern to us because, you know, we've got all of our equipment back there and we have, you know, new police cars and things that we've been bringing in, new Public Works vehicles, and we're parking them on this, you know,
it's a junk lot.
yeah, I mean, it's horrible. And so, you know, it makes no sense to have decent equipment and then you're parking it on a lot like that.
But that's something that we could do with that equipment, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I have a question. The memorial parking, that's at the end at the end of the Y.
Yes.
They not gonna do the parking lot when they put the park in?
Well, we're actually doing, we're contracting out sections of that work independently as we go along. So like for this year, the only thing you're going to see is the fence and the concrete work, the sidewalks and the cement slabs. That's probably all we're going to do this year. Next budget year, we'll put some more money into it to do some other things to it. So it's going to be a multi-year project to get that Memorial Park up and running. But as
so
far
if
as
they're
the
gonna be
parking,
doing cement trucks and stuff now, it probably wouldn't be good to put asphalt down because they're gonna tear it up going in and out.
yeah, the parking lot would probably be the last thing we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd put,
Okay, I have a question. I'm done. What's the Memorial Park? What's that all about?
It's a brand new park that the council established at the recommendation of the Economic Development Board. It's going to be at the very tip, right past the football field where Wichita and Race Street intersect.
fence area right here.
And what we want to do is put memorials in there for our military, police, firefighters, EMS. And then what we also would like to do is make available to the public the opportunity to memorialize loved ones that they've had that have served in any one of those capacities, where they could buy bricks, engraved bricks that we could put along the sidewalks and the memorials themselves when the time comes. So that's the plan. Memorial parks are very popular. I've been involved in projects like these before. And we thought that this would be a really good addition to the city of Everman.
Dirt
You
down
know,
there?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I said, use up the dirt down there.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, everybody's kind of excited about this project and we're going to try to move it along as quick as we can.
My
We're,
father-in-law,
we're hoping we can get a lot of business folks and different people to help us with it. So maybe we can move it along a little faster. But we're kicking it off. The Economic Development Board is actually paying for the fencing and all the concrete work right now. So,
my father-in-law lives right around the corner from the one in Forest Hill. There's always people there.
Yeah.
Like, not a bunch, but there's always people
Well,
that,
then we've got to have the roads, the sidewalks and everything
yeah,
together.
now we can be better
to
in Forest
try
Hill. You
to
don't have to get your
put it-
car realigned to come over here and see us.
You said necessary. What
I
do
said
y'all think?
necessary, but because, I mean, we got to get that equipment before we can do these
Right.
things,
Right.
Right, necessary is a good
middle ground.
Yeah.
middle step for
Yeah.
both of them, huh?
Is that three of them? Are we putting
Three.
the police department
Oh, the
together?
police
Is
department.
that right? Parking?
Yeah, I was gonna do, police
Parking lot.
department, the two Pittman
Yeah.
parking lots,
Yeah.
and then the walking trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have the police department.
Verdict necessary?
Necessary.
Okay. All right. Mike, you ain't got much left now.
helps to group things, doesn't it? Um,
To me, it's easy. I mean, you're doing the same thing, it's just on a different page.
Okay, now here's a project that that will certainly be beneficial as far as a true capital improvement plan. You may know, if you've been in City Hall, that it's really not adequate to serve the public. We have a lot of issues with City Hall. We have roof issues. We don't have enough space for all the employees. Our city council, or even yourselves, if you were going to into some kind of executive session, we don't even have a room for that. You would have to go in the break room to go into executive session of some kind. We have HVAC problems. We have major IT problems. Just a lot of issues. And the city right now is slowly looking. I know Craig is looking down the road, but they're looking at doing some things where at some point in time they would like to entertain the idea of building a new city hall that would be more functional and certainly serve the public better. So I don't really know what else to say about it. We have some ideas and all that stuff, but do we want to do it tomorrow? No. But do we want to put it in the capital improvement plan? Absolutely.
What? Is this area right here large enough for what you want?
Yes, we're actually looking at some other ideas as far as land around us. So that stuff is in motion right now. But we would have enough space to build a new one when the time comes.
Sounds desirable.
Would it hurt to go 2-story?
Well, it might be more costly because if we went 2-story, we would have to put elevators and things of that nature in because of the ADA requirements.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, so it'd be a lot more costly to do it that way.
Well, I got one question.
Yes.
Are we gonna put a flat roof on it? Or are we gonna
No,
put a pitch roof?
absolutely not.
'Cause when I was on city- when I
Even the
was on
civic,
city council, they wanted to redo the roof, and I said, just build a new roof on it. Just build a pitch roof over the top of it.
no,
And
even the civic center, we were very clear about putting a pitched roof on it. We do
Everybody
not
just
want
looks like
flat
I was
roofs on
talking about
anything.
you're gonna do a flat roof, they always leak because it's flat.
Right.
Yeah, it does. There ain't no way. You can redo it all day long and it's still gonna hold water.
So this is to build a new one?
Yes. Yeah, we can't really do anything else with the one we have.
Or would they be tearing this one down, then building a new one?
Well,
Yes.
Bailey Cheek built this one back in 1974, I think it was.
It's way back there.
It was way back there.
Yeah.
Bailey Cheek was building all these tilt wall buildings.
Well, we've added on to it at times. Even with the COVID stuff, Craig had to jump through all kinds of hoops to make drive-throughs, and we had drive-throughs on both sides of the building
Yeah.
at different times. It's just not conducive to trying to serve the public in any capacity, and we'd really like to build a facility that's where we can serve better and certainly have enough space to do our jobs adequately.
Well, it's also probably important to note that we've actually got a couple of offices that aren't even in this building. We've got, and Mike's one of them. We've got a couple people that are officed out of the annex.
His office looks like his living room.
Actually, I'm at my kitchen counter.
And with the other thing to consider too is with the potential of the developments coming in, we're about to go through some growth. And with growth, we're gonna have to increase staffing. And with increased staffing, we gotta have a place to put them. We're running out of room pretty quickly. Well, we've been out of room for a while.
I think it's urgent, but
Yeah, I
these little pictures y'all put on here don't do justice. If you go back there and you look at the wiring,
I've been through
I mean,
Now, are you looking at the Civic Center?
No, we're doing this.
Oh,
all
you're
the
talking about
stuff,
this, yeah.
all the stuff back here. I was surprised Donna hadn't written herself a ticket for this building. Anyhow,
Should have seen it the first time we had a fire marshal inspected.
So where would the operations go?
where would you move to
To.
when you're doing this?
Well, that would depend if we're gonna build it here. If we're gonna build it right here, we would have to figure something else out and most
Right.
likely move into the annex or civic center while construction is being done. And that's if we choose to build it here.
Boy, you know what?
We've been toying around with a few different ideas. One was land acquisition. The city owns some different pieces of land around and we might be able to build a whole new city hall at a whole new site. We've toyed with the concept of maybe altering the public works building, library and police department and making that a whole municipal complex and building that into one. We've contemplated just mowing this down and building a larger building here on this lot and the lot next to us. I mean, we've tossed around several different ideas. The logistics are well down the road. We haven't figured out the logistics of it yet. But
If we bought that corner lot right there on Race and Shelby,
Yeah.
it's been vacant for years. Build the city hall there, do your 40 by 60 building here, put your maintenance.
Nobody's gonna use that law for anybody who wants to use it for anything other than city or something.
equipment. Well, it'd be good for the city.
Yeah,
I mean,
what I'm
they
saying
got
is it wouldn't
there's
get
plenty of
anybody
parking
else.
stuff there. I mean,
It's been there for at least 50 years.
I'm not arguing with you.
I don't think that side floods.
Well, we see it's urgent and necessary and everything, but by saying anything, does that mean you can start doing more preparation or work or, it seems like.
Well,
There's a lot to it.
just because you mark something urgent doesn't mean we're going out and buying it tomorrow.
Right,
We've got to figure out funding for it. It's got to go, you're the first step.
yeah.
So you're determining whether or not it's urgently needed, it's necessary, or maybe it's just a desirable project that we'd like to do. Or maybe it's not a project that fits into what your vision is for the city at all. That's
Oh,
kind of
no.
your role of where to go. You can approve it today and we may not be able to find funding for this for the next 4 or 5 years. And it may sit here in limbo until we do get funding. Even if it's marked urgent. Where the scale comes into importance is when we have multiple projects that are ranked the same and we have funding that'll qualify for those multiple different projects, we're gonna have to come in and go in order, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're gonna knock out all the urgent projects first, then we're gonna move on with the necessary projects. But we get all kinds of funding sources that have to be allocated towards certain types of projects. So we could have all 50 something streets on there as necessary or urgent right now. And we may have a park project that's a desirable project. And if we get a grant from some entity out there to replace that park equipment, we're gonna go ahead and move forward with that project before we even get to any of the necessary streets. So we're grouping them all together and putting them in order, so when we get funding opportunities, we can start checking off those lists. And only projects that you guys approve and wanna see done.
It's pretty urgent.
I say urgent.
I say urgent. I'm good with that.
I know why you won't build on that corner. You're afraid of getting flooded.
Yeah.
Me? No, I'm not.
Flood City over there.
I was waiting up to my neck that night. It doesn't scare me anymore. I'm okay.
I
Okay,
live on Langley.
so Greg, I've got a question.
Okay.
Let's say that we mark the volleyball at Johnson Park as this is just a deal. Desirable. And we come back in 2 or 3 years, because we're all still gonna be on this board. We come back in 2 or 3 years. Are you gonna bring this back up? I mean, can this come back up?
Yes. Yeah,
And-
so what we'll
and at
do is
that-
once
and
we
at that
develop
point,
the
We
CIP.
can move it up, right?
Yes. Yeah, once we develop the final product of the CIP, that CIP is going to be a fluid document. That's going to be something that's going to go through evolution every year. So we'll continue to mark off down the list because things change, priorities change.
Yeah.
You're going to get a couple of different projects that Mike's going to explain to you that I think, you may get a park replacement project or a park equipment project that is going to be urgent because it affects health and safety. One of those might be the fact that one of our pieces of playground equipment have shards of metal coming off of it, or the chains are rusting through, and now we've got concerns about the safety of the people using it. Another park job might be something that's just a beautifying project.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 2 park projects that might qualify for the same funding source. So when we get that funding, your CIP that you've developed has told us, based off the ranking, that we're going to go with that urgent project before we do that desirable project. And then as we check things off the list, things are going to kind of get bumped up to more important, and it's going to become an ever going cycle. So once the CIP is developed, we'll revisit the CIP every year, and that's going to be the fluid guide that we're going to go forward with on funding projects and things.
That's what I wanted to know.
We combined that parking lot, walking, jogging trail with that other thing over here, didn't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, with
That's
the
over there.
streets or the parking lots.
Pittman stuff.
Yeah, the walking trail was combined with the parking lots.
What was the rating that y'all decided on for the city?
For the city hall,
hall?
City
Urgent.
Hall, Urgent, I think.
Urgent, okay. All
All
right, Mike, what you got next?
Next, and I do kind of want to revisit real quickly the parking lot issues, because to me, Craig just discussed the health and safety and all that of the citizens. Those are big concerns to us. And these next few projects, or some of these, are kind of correlate to that, because we're worried about, our parking lots, people could fall into holes in the parking lots. They're that bad. Certainly driving a vehicle, I would not drive one of my vehicles through there, one of my personal ones.
you're talking about in front of the pavilions.
Yes, in front of the pavilions, or for that matter, on that back parking lot between police and public works. They're awful. The dirt parking lot, we'll deal with that later if we have to. But, like Craig said, you could keep in mind that just because you rank it a certain way, even if you ranked everything urgent, we obviously don't have the money to attack everything at once. But at least if funding came through based on the way that you ranked them, or you marked them, they could be attacked quicker than later. So I guess that's kind of the point I want to make.
So you're wanting to do the police department and Pittman Park in front of the pavilions as urgent?
I would think so.
So if we do get funding or something, we can do it?
Yes, sir. And like I say, I'm really concerned about the health and safety and welfare of our citizens, because they're bad.
Yeah. Well, and that junk pile over at the police hall, I wouldn't walk through there at night.
No.
I mean, if I was an officer, I'd want to light it up good. Cause yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not trying to tell you all what to do, but by any means, but I'm just
Well-
trying to express my concern, and I think it's the concern of Craig and everyone that these issues, some of these issues are really concerning to us because they've been neglected for a long time. And you know, the conditions are such that we really worry about the safety of people going in and out of there.
Well, I think we're all here to help. So
Yes, we're here to help.
that's one of our deals is, you know, when you're sitting here and you're thinking, okay, well, these projects we can group together. So do y'all want to move Pittman and the police station up to urgent?
I thought we already had urgent on.
We have necessary.
We had necessary because we were going to get the equipment, do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But if they get funding for it and they can go ahead and do it,
Oh, okay.
then it moves it up to where, that's why I was asking a while ago if these come back to us and stuff like that, because it's like balancing stuff out. You're trying to, but if
And
there's
actually,
something that needs-
actually, I'd like to recommend the walking track be thrown in there too, simply because of its close proximity to the street. We just have some real concerns about the location of how that track
We had necessary.
winds through that park.
yeah, necessary on that one too.
Yeah,
It all
necessary
goes
on all
together.
of
Why didn't you tell us this before we voted on that?
I'm sorry.
it.
You know, I used to like him.
At least I didn't wait till the very end to bring it up.
Well, I know we don't want to do the park until we get the concrete trucks and all that stuff off
The
of it. I
parking
mean,
lot
that would make no sense.
and the police station, leave it in.
So do
So
the
we have 3 you want to
Pittman
move to
Park in
urgent?
front of the pavilions as urgent,
Everything. You
do the
know,
police department as urgent, and do the walking track as urgent.
everything.
Well,
No,
that one we
the
don't
park-
even want,
the Memorial
the Memorial
is
Park we don't want to do.
Right.
You don't want to mess with that until
Right.
they're
Right.
done. We can just keep grading it or do whatever we got to do there to.
Okay.
Okay, so we're putting Pittman Park PD and the walking track all as urgent. The Memorial Park parking lot is necessary still?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
Yeah, it
The
is.
sidewalk and that's a part of that
It can
area.
be, that part can be fixed whenever they do the parking lot.
Okay,
Is Donna-
Okay, so that brings me to the next project is fencing. Memorial Park is also included in here, but we can take that out because as you know, Memorial Park's been fenced. Pittman and Johnson, what we would like to do is put 4-foot fencing up around the entire park. And here's the reasons why. Pittman, you have the walking trail. You have a lot of kids that are out there running around. Some are on the trail, some aren't. But you know, you got Wichita and you got Ray Street that are pretty busy, pretty active, and we worry about especially kids getting out on the street. And we're thinking that a fence around the park would at least contain everyone in a safe manner where we wouldn't have to worry about that possibility. The same thing applies to Johnson Park. As you know, all the baseball fields are at Johnson Park. A lot of kid traffic. And there is absolutely no way or nothing in place to contain those kids other than the ball fields themselves, where only the players are allowed. All those other kids milling in and around the baseball fields, some parents may or may not be paying attention to them, are just running around with nothing to keep them from going out onto Everman Parkway or some other area where they could get hurt. So we're thinking 4-foot fencing would be nice, not only for the safety of our citizens and our kids, but we also plan to, and we have some in place now, we have some mechanism in place now to keep some areas of our parks locked at night because we have had vandalism issues at times. Fencing around the entire perimeter of our parks would allow our city staff to lock the entire park up at night and not just portions of it like we're doing right now. So that's the rationale behind fencing those in.
Oh,
Well,
dear.
I've got, when you talk about locking the park up at night, I don't really like that.
place to-
And the reason is because like, even though we've had issues over here, that gives those kids something to go do. If you shut the park down at night and they can't go over there, they're gonna get into something. You know, I'd rather the parks be open. And matter of fact, Alcon, we had a group one night that was over here playing volleyball in Pittman Park. And they kept the volleyball courts and everything nice. They just come over here after they got off work at Alcon. It was a group of them, but they got off at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And they'd come over here and play volleyball and stuff because that was their evening. So, I mean, I don't like the idea of locking up the park. I do like the idea of putting fences up to keep kids in and stuff like that.
Did they play volleyball in this court?
It's been a while. Yeah, like I said, that is,
Well, I'm thinking of the walking trail. I wouldn't mind having a fence alongside, you know, for like all these, but I would not want it locked because people do come early or late. If
Yeah.
you want to do it, lock up other areas, but not the walking trail. So. have to work on that.
yeah, I mean, like,
Do I have the wrong CIP up, Mike? Or do you have another one for fencing separate from that one?
Let me see. Yeah, I have one that
Oh.
says specifically Pittman, Johnson, and proposed Memorial Park for fencing.
Okay.
You want the numbers to it?
Nope, I got it. I just pulled it up.
see, that looks nice.
Mhm.
That's the volleyball. That's volleyball.
Yeah, it's one of the pictures you had it was listed in here.
So everything would be in one big fence, or everything's gonna be have their own fence, like the volleyball court would be fenced, the playground would be fenced, or,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I can definitely understand locking up the baseball stuff.
Yeah, there's areas.
Yeah, because I mean, there's,
Especially Johnson Park.
but then again, I don't know how many kids go up there and play ball in the summer like we did when we were kids.
Things aren't the same.
It's actually
It's
getting
picking
better.
back
It's picking
It's
up.
picking up.
The Baseball Association has been doing a lot of work to regain that interest. Mike actually did an incredible job pitching the parking lots this last year. And thanks to Mike and the county and the cooperative agreement we've got, we had those parking lots redone. We also, EDC paid for a good chunk of some of the projects that were done up at Johnson Park towards the baseball fields. So they've got new scoreboards, new fencing. We've done a lot to improve the baseball side of things because that's beneficial to the city. That brings a lot of people over to the city.
Yeah.
Well, we also built that the new basketball facility at Johnson Park.
Yep.
We're trying to do as much as we can to provide beautiful parks for our citizens to enjoy because, you know, I mean, you see how busy Pittman Park is. It's busy. And Johnson Park, the activity over there is starting to pick up because we've been doing more over there as well. So we're just trying to make it, you know, I don't have to tell you how important parks are to a community, and we're just trying to make them as beautiful and give as much as we can do, you know, as we can possibly provide for our citizens to enjoy once they go over there.
If you make them attractive, people want to go to them. If it's just something on the side of the road, I mean, looks like a state project.
Well, and in working in economic development, I can tell you that's one of the things people look at when they think about, you know, relocating to another municipality is what type of community are they bringing their employees to?
Yeah.
And, you know, parks are a big issue. Schools are a big issue. You know, those types of things are looked at and studied by corporate executives that are thinking about relocating.
I would say urgent. Maybe I'm, you know, personally, just my kids, I would never bring them to this one, right? Just because I tried it just one time. They're crazy, you know, I tell them I'll stay in the sidewalk, they run off, you know, they're running off into the street.
Remember, 10 years from now, we got a recording of you calling your kids crazy.
No, they're crazy. So with the fence though, you know, I can keep them contained.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can work. Yeah.
I know one time when I coached T-ball up there at the ball field, my son come up missing. I was running around there trying to find them, and one of the parents come up and said, "Which one you looking for?" And I said, "Zach." And they said, "Don't worry." I said, "Whoever took him, bring him back in 20 minutes."
For the fencing, I think there has to be some discussion on which and what and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But like, I know when I've jogged, I haven't done a whole lot, but, or walked, I don't jog. I would have liked a fence around there. And even for animals, you don't want a kind of dog coming up there and it might keep some of those riding their bicycles around there that aren't supposed to and things like that.
so,
But I'm thinking of the the walking trail. When you're thinking of the kids and stuff.
Right, when,
Yeah,
because,
that's not-
you want to walk around with the kids, but it's
I just think it's neat, all the families that goes over there
Yes.
and
yes,
walks.
yes.
So
yeah.
I'd call that urgent.
I think it's really, I do too. It's bad. It needs to be repaired a long time ago.
If you move that off the road though, and you put that fence through there, is it still gonna be a mile from that starting point?
Is it a mile? Is it a mile?
Can we call it a mile?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think it's a little over a mile. I think when we figured it out, and we're in the process of relocating a portion of it right now because the Civic Center and the parking lot is going in. And the Civic Center parking lot, the new one, you're going to have both entry and exit on both Wichita and Ray Street. It's going to go all the way through. So we're going to have to relocate part of that walking track right now.
And at tomorrow night's city council meeting, I don't know if y'all watch the meetings on the website or not, but at tomorrow night's council meeting, the contractor is going to be unveiling some of the 3D modeling and stuff there for the new annex across the street. So you'll kind of get a good idea of what's going in.
Cool.
I wish I had those tonight, but I don't. I'm eager to see them myself. But we
Is that
should have
tomorrow,
those
you
tomorrow.
said?
Yeah, tomorrow evening.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can go to our City of Everman YouTube
What
page. and
time?
What
watch it.
time? 6?
6:30.
6:30. Okay. See if they're listening to us, huh?
Yes. I think it said that there was one watcher on YouTube a few minutes ago.
That was probably me.
Okay, what you got next, Mike?
Okay,
I'm sorry, we determined urgent, right?
Okay.
That's on
the-
Johnson Park also, or we haven't got there.
That's
Johnson and Pittman, yes.
Johnson and Pittman.
It's
football.
Johnson and Pitt.
Okay,
You know, I feel kind of bad because when you let a city go down as much as what this city's gone down,
Everything
it's like everything's urgent.
Kind of feels that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and you hate to keep doing that because all you're doing is making the city council have to sort things out then, you know, it's,
I know that's what they pay us for.
Oh, this says the playground at Johnson Park.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the playground equipment. We have antiquated equipment at Johnson Park. And I think you have some pictures, but the playground equipment is not only antiquated, but it's in extremely bad condition. They actually look fairly decent right now because they put a coat of paint on there, although the paint color is wrong. It's not what I wanted. They're going to repaint those right now.
Y'all notice anything wrong with the swing set?
Yeah.
No swings.
No swings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull-ups
Where
maybe?
is that?
This is at Johnson Park.
Yeah,
Is it
right here.
Johnson?
Just-
why is there no swings?
By the-
Because
fence.
the metal on them got so dilapidated and rusted that it became a safety hazard, so we had to remove it.
Pretty rotted. And then you've got these two pieces here, which are
Yeah.
not in great shape.
I
The
used to
sad
watch
thing
Christmas
is
up there, and they-
playground equipment is extremely expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Need somebody who can make them.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about commercial playground equipment, even if you were to buy a decent playground equipment set for your home, it's not cheap. But anyway, it's extremely expensive, but we would like to put some type of playground in similar to that the one that's over in Pittman Park for the kids to enjoy when they're over there. And get rid of the equipment that we have.
Sycamore School Road.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you when that equipment there was bought, that little ball thing and the little rocky thing, that was built back when we used to have the fireworks deal, the Airman Celebration Committee. Yep, they donated the money to buy that.
Well, I said, my grandkids are 24 and 25, and I used to take them up there.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, this is what we're looking at is the picture that's in front of you now. So it'd be really nice. And, you know, there's a lot of kids over there, you know, you got your kids playing ball and then you have all those kids that tag along with their parents that don't have anything to do.
Those
This is
pavilions.
certainly, I'm sorry?
Those pavilions too. People are always having something at those
I say they
pavilions.
have reunions at the pavilion.
I just wish these two weren't side by side.
I know.
Goofy idea, but
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I hope that one person watching wasn't the one that said that.
No,
No.
no,
They messed up.
No,
nope, not us.
No, I'm talking about the one person that was watching on YouTube or whatever.
no,
No.
no, they not watching.
I can pretty much guarantee he's not watching.
I can't.
That never should have been together. Those should have been separated.
No. I like that.
Well, that's their recommendation, but when it comes down to it, it'll be whatever they feel like to get at the time, I'm sure.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, I can assure you, so
So,
when you say that, keep in mind too, I can assure you, we're not going to halfway do something. If we're gonna do things, we're gonna make sure that things are done right the first
Do
time.
the whole project.
Yes, yes.
so would that swing set replace all the swing set, the seesaw? Or will you have different, still have different stations, basically?
No, that would replace it.
Yeah, that would
Yep.
replace it all.
Okay.
Well,
Project.
actually, here I go again, grouping these things together. Volleyball is, I mean, to me, the toilet fixtures, I mean, all these three right here all go together too.
Yeah.
They could.
Oh, got it.
The toilet fixtures that you're getting that are stainless steel, can we get a better price through the prison? Do they still do that?
Not that I'm aware of. Craig, do you know?
They do, but it has gone from a generosity thing to a business. It's now owned by a corporation that pretty much runs the operation. So I don't think the cost is gonna be much different. I mean, we can still purchase things through the prison, but the cost is not much different than what we would get at
Okay,
a typical market.
I
value.
thought they used to make them for municipalities and stuff like that.
They used to, but now it's owned by a separate company. It's a totally independent company. Texas Correctional Institution doesn't run it anymore. It's a totally independent company that operates it.
Free labor. Hmm.
Well, as a
Okay.
woman, we want those restrooms taken care of. don't we? For us and our kids. The kids.
No, there ain't nothing feels any
So this
better
would
on
be
you.
both part, Pittman and Johnson?
Yes. Well, are you talking about the restrooms?
Restroom, yeah.
Oh, yes, they're both in terrible shape.
I
Now,
couldn't.
now the facilities are fine, you know, the actual buildings are fine, but the interior of both of those buildings is terrible.
The one at Johnson Park is much worse than Pittman Park, and Pittman Park's not good by any means, but
There's wooden toilet seat. Look at that.
Yeah.
Home Depot had it on sale.
You do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna clear.
Well, I tell you, there ain't nothing better than that stainless steel in the winter too.
Oh. It's better not have one.
Well, and the reason we talked about the stainless steel is for obvious reasons is
Yeah, so they don't tear them up.
vandalism. Yeah, that we have a lot of vandalism issues in the restroom facilities. So that'll stop a lot of that.
Do they lock the restrooms at night?
Yes.
Yeah.
What time do they lock those, Craig? At
10 PM and they unlock them at 6 AM.
Just out of curiosity, would it need to do that if they were stainless steel?
Not necessarily. One of the main reasons why we started locking was actually due to arson. We had kids commonly going in there and lighting the trash cans on fire or toilet paper on fire.
Vandalism.
And the point I'll throw a little funny story out there. At the point that we decided to start locking it was when one of the police officers went in there with a fire extinguisher, or a dry chem fire extinguisher, and decided to put the toilet paper that was in the toilet on fire out with the fire extinguisher rather than just flushing it. And the dry chem went everywhere and filled the whole bathroom up. And we finally said, that's enough. We're not going to clean all that crap up every time. So they finally started locking it. But yeah, instead of just flushing the toilet, he took a fire extinguisher in there to put it out.
If someone needs it bad enough, they can go someplace and find one without trying to get in there and vandalize especially. I think they should be law.
Well, unfortunately, park restroom facilities are just kind of an avenue for illegal activities, whether it's,
Yeah.
drug transactions. I spent 39 years as a police officer, so I've seen a lot, and sexual assaults, robberies, you name it. It's just, they just seem to attract that type of behavior, in the middle of the night. So not necessarily in Everman, but
Yeah, probably everyone.
Well, I think the volleyballs can wait, but I think the restrooms,
Right, that's what I was
urgent
thinking.
for the restrooms.
Well, to me, it's all the same.
Yeah, well,
You're
well,
gonna
the
do it.
volleyball
This
is not-
nice playground, these nice
Yeah,
restrooms, you got a weed eat, the volleyball
Yeah.
court, we can go play on it, doesn't make no sense.
All together.
all together, huh? What do you want on all those?
Now, in relation to all these other projects, the volleyball courts are pretty cheap. But we certainly would like to redo those. The ones we have, you've seen the pictures. They're really not volleyball courts. They're pasture with nets.
You could go in there with that skid steer, dig that sand out.
We could do a lot of it ourselves and do it right. We just don't have the equipment to do it properly. It needs to be dug down a good couple of feet and filled in with sand and put some borders around it. And I mean, we could make it
The
much
problem is
nicer.
that these volleyball courts were built right in the floodway. So every time we get a good rain through Pittman Park, that water washes all the dirt and it fertilizes the volleyball court very nicely. And there's nothing to keep it from coming in that way. So that's why our volleyball pits, which used to have sand in them, now
Yeah, my
They were nice.
granddaughters played on there.
do not.
But would they be in the same place, or do you think they'd renovate where they put them or something?
Well, if they build a retainer wall around it to keep. Well, if you put like a
I know.
concrete deal around it or something.
I mean, the plan would be to, I believe, to keep them in the same place.
Yeah,
This picture that you're seeing now, that's kind of what we'd like to put in place. It'd be a really nice little volleyball facility, and like I say, it's relatively inexpensive for us.
Where's that one?
That one was in Wiley, I think. I went around looking at other folks' volleyball pits. I think this was in Wiley. Happened to come across this one.
It have the yellow with the netting and all that on.
Yes.
That's so you can see it if you're running, chasing
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah, actually, that chain link is that color. It's that green
green.
chain link, and then the
Um,
yellow border on the top is similar to that we put up on the new baseball
Baseball
fields. Yeah. Somebody diving for a ball is not going to hit the top of the fence.
What do y'all think? Urgent, everything? Unneeded?
Yeah. I hate to keep putting urgent on everything. God dang, it's like I said, you let the city set for 40 years and don't do nothing.
Oh. I got a group of people here are urgent to do something. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say urgent on all three. I'd like to take my granddaughter up there. to
Brenda,
play
you're
on
awfully
the
quiet tonight.
Well,
I had a long day. We just spend it.
it's kind of frustrating, really. I mean,
It is.
you don't want to say urgent on everything, but dang.
It makes you see how bad the city really went down.
Somebody comes up to me and gripes again, I'm gonna say, Look at these papers we got.
Well, there is a silver lining to all of this. Craig told you in the last meeting, I think we have, what is it, Craig? 26 million in new projects going on this year in the city of Everman.
Yes, roughly, yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of change in the city this year. And with what y'all are doing with the capital improvement plan, it just gives us direction to keep moving forward, being proactive, and you're going to continue to see the city make strides to being what you think it should be. And that's kind of the goal here. So there is a silver lining. Just keep your eyes open. You're going to see a lot of changes.
All right.
So do we decide urgent on this one? Is that-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's the last of them. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what time are we meeting tomorrow night for the next list?
We got 2 weeks.
Which camera are you looking at me at?
So if you remember, we scheduled the meeting tonight because Martin Luther King is next Monday night, next
Yes.
Monday.
Okay. Right.
So our next meeting is actually not going to be until February 1st.
I'm busy that night.
All right. And actually that night, you're going to have, I believe, 3 individuals here presenting different projects.
Here or on the screen?
Well, one or the other, either here or on the screen, but we'll have Lisa Menace with the water department, Landon Watley with the fire department, and then I think Mindy has got a couple of projects to bring to you guys as well.
Okay.
So I think we're going to try to they don't have nearly as many as these two. We've gone through the biggest batch so far, and we've got just a few more to work through. And then once we work through this, we're going to compile the list, and then we're going to start fine tuning it a little bit. And I want to start hearing your guys' ideas on things that we haven't talked about once we get through all the first steps of projects. What do you want to see that maybe we haven't addressed, or what ideas you have that we need to start including as well? Sound good?
Sounds good.
I'd like to throw one little idea out there.
Okay.
I used to work in Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie had a tractor that had a deal on the end of it that stuck out beside the tractor, and it was on a spring that actually kind of went back and forth. And it had like a plow disc on the end of that thing. And they'd drive down the street and it edged the roads. I mean, you follow it and it's just got a stream of grass coming off of it that they actually use as an edger. And that's what kept all their roads and stuff, their main roads and stuff, it made them all look good. I mean, they were all edged and it was all done quick. And the thing, you didn't have to drive it exactly straight because the thing kind of went in and out, but it stayed down in that groove against the curb. I'd love to see these streets edged. I mean, it just drives me nuts.
Well, that's exactly the kind of thing that we want to hear, is those kind of projects. So
I mean,
I've never heard of one of those, but we can definitely look at it and see what we can find.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy deal. Me and a buddy of mine sat there and we followed it around a while, just watched it because we thought it was just cool. I've never seen nothing like it.
I never have either. I've never seen that.
Yeah, Grand Prairie's got one. It fits on there. I mean, I don't know what the maintenance is on it or nothing like that, but man, it sure made them streets look good. I mean, it cut it down.
Nice.
I guess they set the height or something, but I mean, they just went right down through there and it just clipped the
And they
grass
already
off
have
and
the
chunked it
groove?
out in the street.
Do what?
Who's in charge of the lights and the street lights?
You don't like the street idea?
Encore.
Okay, because, all right, I'm sorry, I know this is out of place, but it was the street light at the top of Everman and Shelby Road is out.
Okay. You can always call the police department anytime you see an out street light, and they
Okay.
go onto the website for you, and they'll submit the notice, and they usually come out and replace them. You got it?
They usually call me.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
There you go.
I find a lot of them call me, so I usually just,
Okay.
it's real
Okay.
simple, real easy. If
She'll get it taken care of for you.
Okay.
I'm not available, they can, and vice versa.
That'll work. All right. Well, meeting's back over to you, man.
Okay, call this meeting adjourned.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go build you a snowman.